keeping up with the news these days. It's a lot, isn't it? I mean, you really feel the information overload sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's tough to really get into the details without getting totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that's why we do what we do.
Right.
We dig deep so you don't have to.
Exactly. And today we're going deep on a pretty major story in U.S. politics. The conviction and sentencing of former Senator Bob Menendez, a Democrat. Bribery charges, pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, definitely a big one. And we've been going through a lot of the commentary and reaction. And for this deep dive, we're going to focus on a video from the Ring of Fire YouTube channel. It's called Bribery Scheme Lands Democratic Senator in Prison for 11 Years. Really gets right to the point.
That title does not mess around.
Yep.
Straight to the point.
And they lay it all out pretty clearly.
Okay, so this video, their take on the Menendez case, what are we hoping to get out of this deep dive?
Well, we really want to understand the nuts and bolts of the case, right? Like what actually happened? What was he convicted of? But also, how are people reacting? What are the different perspectives? And thinking about some of the bigger picture implications, too, because this case, it touches on some pretty fundamental questions about corruption, power, accountability, you know.
Big stuff.
Big stuff. So yeah, that's our mission for today.
Buckle up, folks.
Okay, so first things first. The verdict. 11 years, right?
11 years. I mean, that's a huge chunk of time, especially for a former senator.
And the commentators in the video, they really hit on that. They call it the rest of his life, for all intents and purposes, a death sentence for his career. And given his age, they might not be wrong.
Yeah. And there's this tone in their voices, like a sense of almost satisfaction.
Definitely, like a feeling that justice has been served, you know?
Yeah, like finally someone's being held accountable.
Absolutely. And they push back hard against any notion that this was politically motivated.
Yeah, none of that witch hunt talk.
Nope. They're very clear. Menendez, in their view, he was guilty and he deserved what he got.
Okay, so then let's get into the actual accusations. Because the video doesn't just talk about vague allegations, right? It actually describes some pretty vivid evidence.
Oh, yeah, they go into some real detail.
Yeah.
And the commentator picks out these tangible elements. Cash, sewn into suit jackets.
Wow.
Gold bars, found in his closet.
Okay.
Even under his bed.
Under the bed.
Yeah, under the bed. And the way they put it is so tangible. We could see that, like it's this blatant, in-your-face kind of corruption.
It takes it out of the realm of hearsay, you know? Like there's physical proof.
Exactly.
And then there's this interesting point. The commentator mentions that this wasn't the first time Menendez faced this kind of accusation. There was that earlier case, right?
The one that ended with a hung jury.
So it makes you wonder, was this conviction like a delayed reckoning for past behavior?
It does make you think.
Because the video, it kind of hints at that, right? Like maybe he got away with it before.
Yeah, definitely that feeling.
But it goes beyond just the money, doesn't it? This case, it has some serious national security implications too.
And the video really emphasizes that. This was not just, as they say, minor stuff. They point to Egypt being involved, possibly other countries too.
Oh, wow.
And the allegation is Menendez gave them access to state secrets.
That's a whole other level.
Absolutely. And I mean, compromising national security, that's about as serious as it gets.
Yeah. And it's no surprise then that as soon as this story broke, there were calls for him to resign.
Yeah, right away. The video talks about that, how quickly those calls came and how widespread they were. But they also mentioned that there was some initial pushback. Some people saying, hey, due process, let's wait for the legal process to play out.
And Senator Fetterman, he gets name-checked in the video, right, for being especially vocal about Menendez stepping down.
Oh, yeah. They highlight him as one of the first and most forceful voices calling for resignation. And the commentator actually says their respect for Fetterman has grown because of that. Like it shows he's willing to take a stand against corruption, even within his own party.
Okay, so let's talk about Menendez's defense for a minute, because the video does mention his, let's call it unique explanation for having all those gold bars.
Saving money.
Yeah, saving money.
That's what he said.
By buying gold.
Yeah, like it's the most sensible thing in the world.
The commentator's reaction is pretty priceless. They just go, come on.
Come on. Like, are you kidding me? And you can just tell nobody's buying it.
That's not a winning argument in front of a jury.
Not at all. And the video also suggests that even within the Democratic Party, people realized pretty quickly how serious this was.
So not just the public, even his own party was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. The commentator says within 2 weeks, it was very clear. Like the evidence was there and the potential fallout was huge.
Okay, and this is where the video gets into some really interesting territory. They start talking about this idea of a dual justice system.
That's a big one.
Right. Like, does justice actually work the same for everyone?
And the commentator, they take the stance that there is a difference, a big difference in how the system treats individuals versus powerful entities like corporations.
Mm.
And they use the example of corporations causing harm with, say, bad products. They actually mention the Roundup story, probably figuring most people would be familiar with that.
Right. The weed killer.
Exactly. And the point they make is that these corporations, they might face legal consequences, but it's different. It's often settlements, fines, things like that. Not the same kind of personal accountability as someone like Menendez getting jail time.
So the argument is that the punishment doesn't always fit the crime when it comes to big corporations or wealthy individuals. Their harmful actions are often less visible, less direct.
Exactly. So in this case, the commentator is kind of happy to see Menendez treated like, as they put it, a thug. It's like this one time where the system, in their view, is working the way it should, even though they acknowledge that it doesn't always play out that way. And it's interesting because they also mention another commentator, someone who had a different opinion on Fetterman but still agreed on the Menendez thing.
Mm.
It shows you how even within a shared viewpoint, there could be nuances.
Nuance is good.
Nuance is good. And the video wraps up by comparing the Menendez case to, well, a very different case, the Harvey Weinstein case.
Mm.
But they see a connection.
Powerful men abusing their power, causing harm.
Exactly. And they seem to get a sense of justice, of things being set right when those people finally face consequences. Even if, as they point out, that doesn't always happen.
Right. So taking a step back, looking at all of this, it's a lot to unpack.
Definitely a lot going on here.
We have a former Democratic senator convicted, sentenced to a long time in prison, bribery charges, very concrete evidence, really serious accusations about national security being compromised. Then you have these immediate calls for him to resign, his defense basically falling apart, and this whole discussion about whether justice is truly blind or not.
And I think that last part, that's what's really sticking with me, that whole idea of a dual justice system. So here's something to think about. What do you think are the reasons why we might see these differences in how justice plays out for individuals compared to powerful groups or corporations? And what does that mean for the bigger picture? Like, how does it affect our trust in the legal system, in politics as a whole? Because this isn't just about Menendez, it's about something bigger.
It definitely goes beyond this one case.
It really does.
A lot to ponder.
A lot to ponder.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.